Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm Tucker Hazel. This is Abram, or he's on that side, he's on one of the sides. And today we're joined by a guest for one of the first times on this channel. This is the Nathan709. He is a more popular YouTube channel than us. Let's just get that out there.
Hey.
All hail Nathan.
Okay,
but
all right.
but he found our channel randomly when we were streaming Super Mario Sunshine the other week, like 1 week ago today, I guess.
Yeah.
And I thought that, because of that, 1 week later, we might as well talk about what our thoughts are on Super Mario 3D All-Stars. I just want to get it out there that I am drinking caffeine for one of the first times in my life today. So I've got an energy that I'd like to put out in this video. But, Nathan, you want to talk about how you're feeling about Super Mario 3D All-Stars?
I'm really enjoying it, yeah, because I played Mario 64 a lot as a kid, and I own Galaxy, but I haven't finished it before. And then Sunshine, I played the least.
Yeah. I'm on a cutout right now. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, 1 sec. My internet cuts out occasionally. We're just gonna do a second round. In a second. Hold on, this happens. Maybe it's nope, there we go. Okay. I hate this shit. Okay, there we are. All right.
Okay, you're back.
Yes, hi. Abram, what's your experience with Super Mario 3D All-Stars and these games in general?
I've played them. For sure. Here's the thing, folks. I'm a little exasperated. Tucker and I were on fucking Zoom for half an hour before we started recording, and this man is draining my energy. But it's going to recharge my batteries real fucking quick, as though I was flood out of water needing to be refilled. He's talking about these games because I'm pretty high on them. I'm gonna be honest with you. So as you know, we streamed Sunshine. So I've been playing a lot of Sunshine. It's the game I've been playing the most of, actually. I've fucked around with all three, but I beat Sunshine. I've almost finished Galaxy. I got distracted by some other stuff. And I played a little bit of 64 because I hadn't played in a while. And I wanted to get back up to speed. Played about the first 12 stars. It's a real low effort, isn't it? I think that's a big takeaway. The collection is not especially well assembled, and I think playing it now, it's very clear that some ways are just obviously superior than others. I don't think playing Galaxy in handheld mode is particularly good at all. I think that the presentation really lets the whole package down. But in some ways, I think Sunshine looks excellent. I think Galaxy looks excellent. I think as a package, for as much as it's lacking, I'd be lying if I didn't say that playing either Sunshine or Galaxy with a Pro Controller up on my TV doesn't feel like the definitive way to play these games. Having played both quite a bit on original hardware, I wouldn't go back now that I have these.
Yeah. So I've got a little bit of different experience from either of you. I don't have much experience with any of these games from the original hardware. I've played a little bit of each of them, not enough to have a full opinion on. So I didn't consider myself a 3D Mario fan until I played Odyssey. So I got this collection begrudgingly. I was not exactly excited about this, but I bought it, and I don't regret my purchase because I do think that me actually playing through these games is going to make it worth the money for me. But I do admit that my previous misgivings with the collection are still founded. I think that the fact that this is such a low quality collection in terms of effort put into the games to polish them up and modernize them in certain ways, and the overall presentation of the menu, it's just the 3 games and the 3 soundtracks, which I haven't messed with the soundtracks at all. But I played through Super Mario 64 the past week, and I just started Sunshine today. I'm enjoying both of the games. I did enjoy Super Mario 64 a lot. I think it being in HD is great, but it certainly helps show the cracks that not polishing the game up completely has. And I will get to Galaxy once I finish Sunshine. I'm just trying to sort of go through them completely in an order. But yeah, Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Oh, we just lost someone. One of our
Here's the thing: we
just
roll with the fucking punches. When the Nathan pops back in, he pops back in. There we go. Here's
Someone walked in.
No worries, dude.
Okay, we're good.
No worries. Believe it or not, we have at least a basic understanding of Premiere, so I can do a little clipperoo. It'll be no big deal.
Yeah.
But here, I think you're right, and I just think that there's a weird scaling level of quality throughout the whole thing. For instance, you watch the intro, Mario grabbing a star, in each of the games. I know the fucking shine in one of them. Don't come at me. But the point is that intro for 64 is in widescreen. and then you play the game in 4:3, and then you contextualize that with the fact that you can easily stretch these games to 4:3 by yourself on your TV and they don't look bad, and then the fact that the unlocked PC port by fans, so the fucking dirty hacker fans in the community, is 18 times more impressive than this, and it makes me feel like Nintendo skated under the bare minimum in some respects. Even though, like I said, and I'll just beat the fucking drum over and over again, Sunshine and Galaxy look and sound and play excellently under optimal conditions. In handheld mode, suboptimal for Galaxy, I think.
Sure. What you got to say, Nathan? Got more thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with like most what you guys are saying. It was very minimal with the stuff that in. It does seem like it was kind of rushed. It was just kind of put together. But I mean, again, Galaxy Sunshine looked great, and 64, some stuff was fixed and some stuff looks great with 64 as well.
Yeah.
But then again, the resolution, the screen resolution stuff like that. That was, I feel like they could have improved with that. But
yeah, so it was a weird choice. And I think that's the biggest thing about it for me. It was just it was a weird choice. What got the attention, what didn't. Especially considering 64, I do think it looks better. I mean, if you've played it on Wii U Virtual Console, if you play any N64 games on Wii U Virtual Console, they are muddy as hell for no reason. So the emulation here is a lot clearer, which is really nice. But with how much that game is revered, I'm surprised Nintendo didn't unlock that for 16:9. But I kind of want to talk a little bit more about the actual games now, because we can beat the actual collection into a fucking bloody mess of a disfigured Goomba, like Tucker was texting me about. But that kind of makes me really curious, because for a lot of people, the weird Goombas, the bizarre aesthetic, the camera controls, everything about 64 is special to a sect of people for a very specific reason. So I kind of want to talk to you, Tucker, about Mario 64 first, because this was kind of your first time diving into it. Are you part of the plebs on Twitter that say that the camera makes it hard to play?
I think that is the most valid criticism that a game has ever had, because that camera was designed for as one of the first 3D platforming cameras, and it does its job, but it skates on by barely. It's just so frustrating to work with that camera at times. When you're not messing with it and following Mario, usually it's pretty good, but when you have to see what's in front of you or from a different angle, sometimes it just does not listen. Sometimes it gets caught in the environment and you can't turn anymore. But like, wait, but I'm going that way. Why can't I see what's in front of me? I want to know where I'm going. It's certainly interesting. But overall, I've really enjoyed Super Mario 64. I'm very glad I played it. That game is ahead of its years in so many ways. I mean, it controls almost as good as Odyssey, with the long jumps and the backflips and the triple jumps, and I had a great time with that. But I do think that it shows its age in certain places with the level design nearing the end of the worlds. They just get like blocky and they don't have as clear of design themes, and the music gets reused and things like that, obviously just because they were trying to save space on the cartridge back in the 90s. But I really wish that this game had been given a little more of a facelift. There's some things that really do feel like they can be easily fixed with the game knowledge that we have 20 years late, more than 20 years later. But still a good game, regardless. Which one have you played the most of, Nathan, from the collection?
I played most of 64 from this collection.
Okay.
Yeah. So I grew up with the 64 DS. That's why I was introduced to that game, and then I think I got at my friend had an N64, so I got to play the original game on there. And then I think I got it on Wii Virtual Console, and that's where I played most of it. And I beat the game a couple times, I think. So I've had the most experience with 64.
What's interesting about going back to 64 is that we talk about its camera being flawed, we talk about these things, but what we don't talk about is what's most essential, and that's that it is still incredibly fun today. And I think it is one of the 5th gen platformers that holds up without a remake. You can look at, what Sony had on the PlayStation, you can look at the other platformers on the N64, and I think that few could get away with releasing in its original state on modern hardware, cleaned up in HD and being okay. And I think that the game is far more than okay. And I think that all of its issues stem from the fact that, sure, it's flawed, and that camera was not supposed to be controlled with the stick. That was a 4-button C button camera.
Sure,
We're never
yeah.
supposed to rotate that thing 360 because the controller just couldn't do it. Physically, there was not stick. But I think it's just a testament to how good the game is that we're saying, man, we wish it had been cleaned up. Not that it needs to be cleaned up.
Sure, yeah.
And going back, it feels so good immediately. And there are so many fun moments in that game and so many iconic locations. And it feels so good that having just played, Sunshine, having just played Galaxy, having played a shit ton of Odyssey the last couple of years, I didn't feel disadvantaged by the game feel. I didn't feel as though Mario's moveset was lacking. I was able to pick it up very seamlessly, of course, because I have played the game quite a bit in the past, but also just because it's a testament to how well it's assembled.
Mm-hmm. There's a few things with the game. I was watching last night. I was going to bed. I was probably up a little too late, but I was watching a video of Super Mario 64 speedrunners reacting to the Super Mario 3D All Stars emulation of Super Mario 64, and how much those motherfuckers just whined about everything. But that is because, and it makes me very glad that I'm not into a game as much as they are, because it's so easy to get used to certain things that when you don't have the exact frame by frame identical experience, you feel like your experience is being degraded. And I think that it's interesting to compare the experience of someone who's a completely new fan, and this is my first time really getting into the game where I still feel like it feels great, but then listening to them saying, oh, my stick doesn't have notches and that messes up the entire game, or that I can't use a certain button combination that I used on the N64 controller, which I still don't think is an absolutely fantastic controller, and the Pro Controller is the better way to play it because it actually fits human hands, but that they still can complain about because they're so used to a certain way. And that has very little to do with the game itself or the game itself or the port, but just the fact that they are so into it that they can notice the flaws. Yes, Abram Beener from Backlog Blanchard.
Okay, hi. Thank you for taking my question. That was not fair, I don't think, in certain respects. And here's what I'll say, and I think it speaks to how this port doesn't quite live up. The reason that speedrunners in particular are unhappy is because this is the Shindo version of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the PAL version. The PAL version has a lot patched out, which makes the game impossible to speedrun. There's a ridiculous video on Twitter of someone fucking ping-ponging off the walls to skip a bunch of stuff
I've seen that,
yeah, it's really cool, right? But the reason to do that in this version is because that's the Shindo exploit, and it's not nearly as fast. This game is inaccessible completely to speedrunners because Nintendo did not put the NTSC version in there. What they should have done, I think, in my opinion, is included both, or included the NTSC version, because that casts a wider net. I think that a lot of the criticism, some of the stuff like missing that original input, I think is unfair. But I think it would have been really nice had Nintendo understood the way that this game has different significance to different groups and understand inherently what happens when you only put the Shindo version on the cart. Because then all of a sudden, the reason 64 is endured is because that speedrunner scene is crazy. Watch fucking Clint Stevens hop around. You're going to have a great time. But he can't hop around in this one because Nintendo deliberately put the non-speedrunnable version on the cart.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Do you have an experience with speedrunning or anything of that nature, Nathan?
Yeah, actually, the past couple of months, since quarantine and stuff, I've been I learned a 16-star run for Mario 64, and I've been playing it on like an emulator, and so I've gotten really used to that. So when I played it on the Switch, it felt odd. Like even just going back and playing like some of the stars I've never done in a while because I have this certain route I always like go through, so it felt really weird. But I wouldn't say I was as mad as those other speedrunners. Because I've only been doing it for like a couple months. Like, yeah, of course, I would be fine if it wasn't. But yeah, I agree. Like, they probably should have added the NTSC version to just make everyone happy.
See, the one I've been playing the most, of course, is Sunshine. And this is the one I want to talk about. And I think for a lot of people, Sunshine is the reason why this collection, because it seems to be, because I think it's kind of just the case that Sunshine is the most divisive 3D Mario. Yeah. Because I think it is the most busted. This was my first time completing it. I'd played it a lot when I was younger. Friends' copy is my own copy, but I never finished it. And for a long time, having not played it in several years, I was not very. Excuse me. Here's the thing, right? Let's take a step back. Sunshine, I used to not like it, but I like it a lot more now. And here's what I said on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I post a lot on Twitter. I'm going to do a little bit of rehashing here, but you should all be in the know. Link in the description. 85% of Sunshine is better than I remembered it being. 15% is far worse. This game is very unpolished. This does not hit the Nintendo quality standard that I think a lot of GameCube games and games prior and since do. It is incredibly glitchy. Some of the shines are deeply, deeply, deeply unbalanced. Some are way too trial and error heavy. Some just feel unfair. Some don't feel like the mechanics are holding up. But on the whole, I think it is probably aesthetically the most cohesive 3D Mario. I think Isle Delfino is incredible to explore. I think that mechanically it offers the most challenge and freedom of any 3D Mario game, including Odyssey, including literally any of them. I think it's an incredibly special game, but I think it's not anywhere near Nintendo's best work. And frankly, some of the fun of it comes from the fact that it is so busted. There are a lot of shines that I got and I completed and thought to myself, I have no idea what the intended route for that one was. Simply no idea. But because of that, I was able to experiment and use FLUDD and find an interesting way through the level. And I had a good time front to back, even if 15% of that game, I think, is just not fun.
Yeah. I don't have any experience with Sunshine. I played a little bit of it. My friend brought over his GameCube and disc, but we didn't have a save card, so I couldn't save. So I just was playing for like 4 hours straight in one night, and that's my only experience with the game. So I'm playing it again this morning, and I have to honestly get used to an entirely new control set because this does not play like any other video game. And it's interesting, and I definitely need to play more. Before this recording, Abram went on record saying that I will probably never beat this game, that he finds it unlikely that I'll ever finish it. And he might be right. It depends on how much effort I want to put into it, and I'm not sure how much I really do. But we'll find out. Sunshine's an interesting one for me that I can't really comment on. But so I'll step back on this one mostly.
It's just an interesting design philosophy, and it's really different because it's not 64-2 in a lot of different ways. The moveset is incredibly strange. Mario's missing a lot of fundamental moves, and he's given different ones in exchange. And then the level design is not necessarily obstacle-based. Mario is tasked with doing a lot more than just jumping around, which I think is a fun change of pace. But it becomes clear that a lot of ideas were thrown at the wall and not all of them stick. But when they do stick, I think it just challenges you and gives you a Mario experience that you don't get otherwise. But Nathan, have you been playing any Sunshine?
I played it on my stream when it came out first to try a bit of it. But I haven't really playing. I don't think I've played any since. I want to get like 64 out of the way and then probably go on the Galaxy. Because I kind of played 64 and Galaxy at the same time. Recently, so I might just go ahead and get Galaxy and then Sunshine because I haven't played Sunshine a lot, so I might do that last, just to because again I haven't played it a lot. But yeah, I'm really excited to play it again. It seems weirder, but I'm really excited to see what it's like.
Yeah, I think it certainly needs to be played through.
Sure,
and Tucker, that's why I want you to play as much as you will. I don't necessarily think it's a game you need to force yourself through. I think you can pretty clearly get an opinion on Sunshine far before you beat it.
Okay.
But it is worth sticking around, if only for the heinous voice acting in the final scene that made me deeply uncomfortable. Bowser's voice makes me feel things I shouldn't. Mostly fear. But do we want to talk a little bit about Galaxy now before we head out?
Yeah, I'm gonna hand this to you two because I'm not a Galaxy aficionado like the rest of the fucking Galaxy seems to be.
So playing Galaxy after playing the others is very interesting because it's the most simplified mechanically. You have a lot less freedom. The game is a lot more linear. There's a lot less challenge. But I think that in its place is a lot more ambition and a lot more interesting design. Playing it again made me realize how interesting the gravity mechanic is, because it doesn't make sense from a player's perspective. but when you're actually in there in the moment, it's very intuitive. And that's what I love. The game is so creative, but it's not creative in a way that feels alienating or that you need to wrap your mind around. It's instantly apparent how to jump between planetoids. It's instantly apparent what they're trying to accomplish. And I just think it is such an elegantly designed game, and speaks to, for me, to how Nintendo always is able to innovate. I think this is probably their most innovative and most polished game. Unlike Sunshine, where I think they took a lot of risks and not a lot paid off, I think every risk Galaxy takes pays off for the player.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, Galaxy again. Like I remember when I turned it on the first time, like when I got the game, I think it's on stream. I just immediately seeing like the graphical upgrade was just mind blowing. Just after seeing that on the Wii and then seeing it in HD, it just felt really good. That was a really big upgrade from the game. And I think I'm definitely trying to finish Galaxy in HD on the Switch instead of trying to go back on the Wii play it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that the game would clean up as well as it does, but it really does.
It does.
And I was especially surprised because I had played it through my Wii U, through Wii mode, and that cleans it up fairly well. But this is just in a completely different stratosphere.
It looks like the game was made today.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it quite has like the texture detail that Odyssey does, but I think it has the art style and the polish, I think, to be really interesting visually. Mm-hmm. From visuals to level design to core mechanics, I think it is. I personally still consider it the ultimate Mario game. It's also my third favorite game of all time, so I'm biased. Nathan, where do you rank them? Do you know yet, or are you kind of waiting until you replay them?
I'm gonna wait till I finish the games, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking Galaxy's gonna be up there for me.
Yeah, I'm the most interested in playing Galaxy because that's certainly the one that has the most riding on it for me. I have played through the first third of Galaxy probably 4 times in my life, and I just never find the time or effort to go through it. And I think it might be because I'm stuck playing it with the Wiimote nunchuck and feeling like I have to set up essentially a whole room to play my Wii again. But now that I have it, that I can play it in the palm of my hand, maybe I should just save it for the TV and not handheld. As you said, it's a less optimal experience to play handheld. But I'm going to beat that game. I will beat that video game. And I'm excited because I want to be a fan of it. I'm hearing all these great things about how it cleans up, and I haven't seen it firsthand because I haven't even started it yet because I'm playing through Sunshine in 64 first. But speaking on the graphical overhauls we were saying about Galaxy, I do think that Sunshine also still holds up pretty well visually. Hopping into it and not really remembering what it looks like in 4:3, and now just it feels so natural in 16:9. And I think the models still look very good. I think the environments are great. The water texture is still mind-blowingly great, especially in HD. And 64, I do think it shows its wear and its age with the textures that are super low resolution or repetitive or what have you. But that game still looks pretty great, even though it's an N64 game, and the fact that it isn't a higher resolution still gives it a modern flair, even though it's it almost feels like it's trying to replicate an N64 game, even though it obviously is one. But Galaxy, I can't wait till I get to that. I can't wait till Abram and I can have a larger conversation about Galaxy because I know how much he and a lot of the Nintendo community and just gamers in general revere that game, and it makes me a little bit curious as to why they didn't include Galaxy 2. That's my biggest thing about this collection, to be honest, because I don't think it would have been that hard, and it seems like a very strange oversight. Hi, I'm not calling your name again, but just go.
Hi, thank you for calling me again. You gotta look at the lineage a little bit, I think. There was already a deconstructed version of Galaxy 1 for NVIDIA something or other
oh, that's right.
In China. Now, of course, there was work done specifically to put the button prompts in this version to get the Joy-Con working and everything, but I bet they had at least a partial foundation from there. But the other thing to consider and remember is that evidence suggests that this collection was put together in about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a lot of time. at all. That is disgustingly short amount of time to develop a game like this. So chances are that if this had come out later, Galaxy 2 probably would have been in there.
Mm-hmm.
I bet it was a combination of having the work from the NVIDIA version and having no fucking time. I don't think it's getting released as DLC. I don't think it's coming back. I think we'll see it on Switch eventually when they inevitably put more Wii, GameCube, N64 games on maybe NSO or some other commensurate service. But I don't think that this game is coming. And frankly, I don't think there's any grand reason behind why it's not in here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of it for Galaxy. Nathan, I just saw your camera turned off. You have anything else to say? I think we kind of wrapping this one up.
I think we're just about done.
Yeah, I don't think much. I think we said it all in this. I think this. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us. I'm sorry we didn't plan this one out as strictly as we probably should have, but I am happy I'm playing these games. I'm not as upset about my $60 purchase of this low-effort collection as I was before. I think it's because I had a good time with 64. I have since put it in my top 100 games of all time. Just FYI, I do think it's an absolutely fantastic game, even though I do have complaints about it. I'm excited to play more of Sunshine. I really want to get into Galaxy. But I'm going to take my time with them. I really don't want to rush myself. And that's the only reason I didn't start Sunshine sooner or try much of Galaxy, is going to try to really play through these games and give them the attention they deserve instead of jumping around. Because I do think that the fact that they are in a collection might give some people a little bit of rough experience with them if they're just jumping between them, because they all do control differently, and you might, notice the flaws differently if you're not going in a certain order, but instead mixing them in a giant pot. But I'm happy I bought this. I've changed my tune. This is certainly worth the money for me, since I will finally be able to complete these games. But I don't necessarily think it's worth the money in general. That's my overall thoughts, though.
Yeah, I mean, I've basically said everything I want to say. I mean, these games are all incredible, and this is a great package to have them in, even if the package itself is lacking. I'm just happy to replay them, happy to work through them, and it's one of my favorite games I bought this year. Easily,
yeah,
which is a cop-out, but I mean, we're talking about fucking 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy. Get out of here. Those are the best games the industry has ever released. So, there we have it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave a link to Nathan's channel in the description. Our 10th of your subscriber base. Maybe some of them will check you out. I'll share his Twitter down there as well. And I've got ours still down there. And obviously our subscribe button is pretty close. You can just move your mouse down a little bit and click on that. But thank you very much for watching, everyone. I really hope you're enjoying these games if you're playing them, replaying them, playing them for the first time, whatever. And we'll see you guys in more videos. Thank you very much for watching.
Bye.
See ya.